Thank you very much for coming in. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I came here with this written, as I'm sure 95% of the other people did as well, and many of them touch bases on what I was going to say anyway. So having said that, what I'll do is I'll just read my closing statement and I'll work backwards, and hopefully it's actually heard and not just listened to. I would like to make it clear that myself and many of the people in our community do not oppose homeless shelters. We acknowledge and embrace providing safe housing for people in need, but we understand the importance of locating shelters in areas which have the necessary and well-established services. The area around 735 Runnymede simply does not have the resources to provide adequate service to an emergency shelter model. I know after speaking with many people in the community, I can say that the people in our community, as a generalization, would with open arms and a very warm heart welcome the homeless people who could utilize the established supports we already have in place and therefore integrate seamlessly into our community. Now, having said that, I can sit here and I can read excerpts from the healthcare workers against poverty. I can read things from Coalition Against Poverty. Tell you all about how the Coalition Against Poverty doesn't want people to be moved out of the downtown core because that's where they're cared for the best. You've all heard that. Everybody's heard that. I can tell you obviously about the obvious mistakes that have been made by SSHA, and I don't think that primarily Mr. Tanner is a bad person. I don't believe that any of his staff are bad people, but I think that there's a systemic problem here. Right, and the problem being, number one, the approach that's taken, and number two would be, well, there's more than two, but a big problem would be, I think, the approach that was taken would primarily be the major issue, and I think that I was in a meeting with Frances Nunziata the other day, and she had invited John Tory and Laurie Albanese. And I've got to tell you, it was a very refreshing meeting because Mr. Tory was very receptive to this whole concept of us embracing people. And, and he actually looked at me and he said, I think it may just be time to look at the way we approach this. And I think that there's a lot of truth to that. And Frances Nunziata had mentioned, and I'm sure you've all heard about it, that she wants to bring a motion forward to defer this situation until such a time that SSHA can get the information together properly and City Council can have a look at the information. Now, I think that's a fantastic idea because City Council, I'll be just one quick second.
Okay.
City Council relies very heavily on the staff reports, and if the staff reports are inaccurate, you can't make an educated decision, and that would just be irresponsible. So I think it would be a great idea to defer this, and I applaud Frances for putting that forward.
All right, thank you very much. Any questions for the deputant? Councillor McMahon?
Thank you. Were you at the, thanks for coming down.
Thank you.
Were you at the community meetings?
I was.
And so, in your experience of those meetings, how would you engage the community more, or in a different way, or in a better way to you, taking in mind that you cannot stop a shelter from going in a ward?
I'm not suggesting to stop a shelter.
Yeah, I know. So how would you do it better? Like, how would you relay the information better at a meeting to garner support and get the information?
I'm by no means a PR expert.
Yeah.
Presumably the people that work for the city are. I'm certainly not. I'm not sure I have a decisive answer for you on that one, but I think a lot less strong-arm tactics. I think some community input would be nice. Take, for example, most people I've talked to say, if it wasn't the emergency shelter model, because integrating that where, they have their services downtown that they need. We don't have the resources to supply. We are not going to build another, we're not going to knock down the Home Depot and put another St. Michael's Hospital. It's just, that's an impossibility, right? So we have, as the map indicated, that I think was probably shown, I don't remember offhand, but as was indicated on the map, we have a ton of schools. We have, Islamic social services. We have the Woolner Sign area. We have we do have things that are easier to integrate people with a different set of problems.
And what do you feel was a strong arm tactic?
Frankly, with all due respect, somewhat what you're saying is a strong arm tactic. You know, it's going in, and that's all there is to it,
Yeah.
you know?
So do you feel that's a strong arm tactic versus the truth, the honesty?
No, I think
The facts.
honesty is a great thing, but I think you can have a level playing field, you know? Stunts like today, for example, where you say, okay, guys, prepare 5 minutes, and then we get here and you have 3 minutes. That's not a level playing field. That's not a roundtable discussion. That's a hierarchical discussion. And I think that's what a lot of these people behind me are a little bit bitter about, frankly.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Question.
Councilor Nunziata.
So just going by to Councilor McMahon's questions, do you not feel, and you attended all 3 meetings?
I attended, well, I got into 2 of them, yeah. The
Yeah.
other one I was
So
outside of.
really, what you're trying to explain is that questions and concerns that were brought up by the community were not properly addressed by staff, and that in fact, there was no compromise whatsoever, and that's why the community itself was frustrated.
Well,
Is that
yes.
correct?
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you.
Thanks.